Welcome to this screencast, which is discussing traditional training methods. Our agenda for this screencast: first of all, I'm going to explain what I mean by traditional, and then I'm going to talk about three categories of traditional training. I'll talk about presentational, hands-on, and group or collaborative, and then I'll close with a summary or a review of what the screencast covered. So what do we mean when we say traditional training? And for most of us, that means a session in which it is led by an instructor or a facilitator. In training and development, sometimes they're called trainers. It is live or face-to-face. It may be in a classroom setting, it may be in a conference room, but people are in the same room. There is a common misperception when we talk about traditional training that it is ineffective when we talk about new methods. And I want to caution us about that misconception because we have to be careful to look at our ADDIE methodology. We have to be thoughtful about our training outcomes, tying them to our methods, and then deciding that based on who's in the room and what are we looking to accomplish. And that traditional or non-traditional or no or new training, whatever language you're hearing, is kind of a moot point if you don't talk about the basics. The other thing that's unique in this screencast is as I talk about the three different categories, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to just reflect on what was heard and what was the most effective type of training that you'd participated in or experienced, again, as we talk about the three categories. And this will give you a chance to really base your own personal experience around the content for this screencast. So the first one we're going to talk about are presentation methods, and these are trainings that are very instructor driven, and the focus is on delivering information or content. So it's the what, the information that participants need to know. Typically these methods are most effective for learners who are what we call auditory and visual, meaning they really process well when they hear information as well as see information. Examples of traditional presentation methods include lectures, team teaching, guest speakers, panels, other types of presentations. It could be teach-ins or student presentations. And then a complement to this is often more traditional audio-visual tools like PowerPoint, handouts, flip charts, whiteboarding, things that you might see in a more typical classroom. So now, after talking about presentation methods, I want you to think for a minute about the best presentation trainings you've completed and what really made them the best or most effective. Okay, now that you've taken a little bit of time to reflect on that, let's talk about the second type, which are more hands-on methods. And the first way that you know that this is different is that you might see a trainer really using more of a facilitative approach. And how you know this is because the focus is more on process or how something is done, and the information or the content comes secondary in this type of training. Hands-on methods are most effective for learners who have a combination of learning styles. So they're auditory, again, that's they hear, visual, things that see, and there's a dimension of kinesthetic or active learning. So there's some engagement, some activity that they need to do as part of the method. Common examples of hands-on methods include on-the-job training, self-directed learning, apprenticeships, internships, simulations, case studies, business games, role plays, behavioral modeling. So I think you're getting a sense now of how presentation style and hands-on methods are different or distinct from one another. So again, I want you to think, now that we've talked about hands-on methods, what have been the best hands-on trainings you've completed and what made them the best? And then that moves us now to the third, which is group building or collaborative methods. So this grouping of methods is different because the instructor is really a guide, and they guide the group through an experiential learning cycle. And I've spent a great deal of my career working in experiential learning, so one way is really just guiding the process of what, so what, now what. And the focus is on the group or the team and how are they effective, and less on the trainer or the instructor guiding the process and the content. And really the group needs to own its process, or how is it going to accomplish that goal, and what information or content are they going to draw upon, or do they need to gather or engage or pull in order to accomplish whatever that goal or output or outcome may be. What's important to know about this method, or this grouping of methods, is that it is most effective for experienced professionals who want a situation in which they are going to be asked to apply the knowledge and skills they already have. And ideally, it's within a group setting of people that they work with, and maybe there is some obstacle that they continue to encounter. And so the group needs the guidance of a facilitator or somebody else who can observe and watch and intervene in their process to help them identify what that obstacle or what that barrier might be to them being more productive or effective as a group. So examples of group building or collaborative methods include applied learning, service learning, two methods that may be very familiar to you as Globe MSB students, project-based learning, ropes courses, adventure learning, scenario-based learning, action learning. You're noticing a theme in these examples in terms of the word that comes secondary. Also, common improvement strategies like Six Sigma and Kaizen can be seen as group building or collaborative methods if an instructor, again, is working with a group to figure out what might be preventing a group from working through Six Sigma or Kaizen in the most effective way together. So if you've had the opportunity to participate in a method like this, I want you to think about, again, what was the best training that could be categorized as group building or collaborative, and what made it the best. So to recap, we really talked in this screencast about what is traditional training methods, and we tried to debunk common misconceptions, and then worked through three categories. So presentational, hands-on, group or collaborative, and then this is the summary or the review. So hopefully this gives you a good sense of what those traditional training methods are, and in addition puts it in the context of some of your own training and development experience and what may or may not have been effective about the way they were delivered.